Hey, I'm Jack. I'm a former banker, mutual fund salesman, and loans officer. I'm here to talk to you about money, what the banks don't want you to hear, all that jazz. Like, comment, and subscribe on this video. I'd love you to stick around and hear some more about what I have to say about money. And go follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. You'll see the links in the description and on the screen here. So let's get into today's video. We're talking about what the ideal car payment is. Cars are getting pretty expensive now in 2022, so I'd like to just help you get a little bit of knowledge and make your next car purchase a little bit easier, maybe save a little bit of money, help you in the future. So how much do we spend on cars? Well, we love our cars. It's the second biggest purchase that you'll make in your life besides a house if you buy one. If you don't buy a house, then it's obviously the first biggest charge. According to GMauthority.com, the average new car payment is $732 per month as of June 2022. That's a lot of money. That's a significant portion. You had an insurance of $150, gas budget of $300, and about $100 a month in car maintenance to buy new tires, get oil changes, those kind of things. That brings the number up to a whopping $1,282 a month to drive a new car in 2022. That's a lot of money. That's rent or a mortgage payment around here. That's a lot to spend on just a car, something that loses value as you drive it. You can obviously buy a new car, maybe save a little bit of money, but markets are still a little bit funky post-COVID here, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Depending on the offer you're getting, it can make sense to go with a new car at this moment in time. That said, I'm not here to tell you to buy a new car. Obviously, make whatever car purchase you want. I just want to run through some numbers here and give you a little bit of advice on how to buy a car in the best way possible. So how much should you spend on a car? Well, as usual, I like to just use examples and stuff. This is going to be a bit of a math-heavy episode, so buckle up here and let's get into it. So we're jumping back to our theoretical perfect self. We're making $50,000 a year. We're great with our money, and we're looking to buy a new car. We're looking to replace it. Don't need anything too fancy, too big. We're just looking for a simple vehicle like a little sedan or something. So currently we're cross-shopping a Honda Civic, a Toyota Camry, and a Mazda 3. Three very reasonable vehicles that I would probably realistically buy if I was in the market for a new car. I really like Dave Ramsey's reference point for the value of everything that has wheels. He says if it has wheels, it shouldn't be worth more than 50% of your annual salary. So since we are making $50,000 a year, we shouldn't own vehicles worth more than $25,000. That's going to help keep our maintenance budgets in check. You can buy old BMWs. I own one in real life, and it still does maintenance like an old BMW even when you can work on it. So that's something to keep in mind there as well. These rules are also fairly flexible. If you're a car person and you like cars and that's your hobby, then you can combine those two parts of your budget into one, since it's not just transportation needs at that point for you there as well. So our theoretical perfect self settled on a 2019 Honda Civic worth $24,500 before taxes and fees. Since I don't have the cash to buy it outright, we're looking to finance a portion of that cost. So how much should we finance then? Well, you shouldn't spend more than 10% of your gross pay bi-weekly or however you're paid on your vehicle payment. So for our theoretical perfect self, that's going to be $193 that we can spend all in on our financing agreement. Since the car was built in 2019, you can finance that up to over 72 months with one of the big 5 banks here in Canada. And I just used an 8% interest rate as a reference point. Used car rates really are all over the place. That's going to be completely subjective to you and your situation. Since we're using our theoretical perfect self, I think we can get 8% on a relatively new used car loan fairly easily still. So we finance over the full 72-month term. That's going to be $197.98 bi-weekly. That's assuming we paid cash for our taxes and other fees that are on the vehicle, which we always should. We don't want to be financing more than what the vehicle's worth generally. That's when you get into a negative equity situation and you can't sell the vehicle easily if you need to. 72 months is a long term. That's 6 years. I'm 25 right now, so in 6 years I'm going to be 31, and I don't know where my life's going to be when I'm 31. That's a lot to think about there. So I would prefer to not have a 9-year-old vehicle when my car is paid off. That's something that I value, and that's something that you probably should think about too, is going in the future when you're young buying your first car. You always want to take the shortest term possible and put as much money down to avoid excess interest charges and to avoid that negative equity situation where your loan is worth more than the value of your vehicle. So say we had some cash set aside, we decide we're going to put $11,000 down on the vehicle. That gets us down to a 36-month term. And payments are $194.94 bi-weekly. So that fits our budget. That's a much more reasonable term, but $11,000 is a lot to spend up front, and not everybody has it. So I kind of like to try and strike a middle there, and we'll take a look at that situation here too. Your most realistic situation would be to put about $4,000 down and finance the term over 5 years. That would give us a payment of $191.57 bi-weekly, and that 5-year term is short enough that you're not going to run into many negative equity situations, and you're not going to be financing the car for longer than you're using it. And since car loans in Canada are pretty much always open-ended as well. You can throw lump sums at that, pay down the principal faster than the term requires, and I always recommend doing that. Get some cash set aside and throw that your loans, help pay those off a little bit faster too. You'll lower your interest costs. That's the best scenario to buy a car and what you should afford. Here's a couple other little tips just to help your car shopping. How to buy a car. This is something that I think a lot of people kind of overcomplicate for themselves. If you go to a reputable dealer, it's not very difficult to buy a car anymore. What I would recommend is ask family and friends first, see kind of what dealerships they like to go to, who their salesperson is, and see if you like them. I have a buddy who's a car sales guy. I've sent a couple friends to him to check out cars, and they really like working with them, and it's given me a little kickback. Sometimes the dealerships will give you a check for a referral, so that's something to keep in mind as well if you know someone shopping and you know a good sales guy. What you're going to want to do is look around your area on websites like Auto Trader, go to the dealer websites, find a vehicle that you like, see what the general average price is across a few different stores. I also recommend Doug DeMiro on YouTube. He's fantastic for getting the ins and outs of a new vehicle, as well as quirky old vehicles, but he does mostly new stuff now. Then what you're going to do once you've come up with a relative budget for what you want and a couple vehicles you're wanting to look at, I don't recommend cross-shopping more than 2 or 3 kind of thing. Go test drive them when you're ready to buy them. That's going to make your life so much more easy. Don't go and test drive them to then be ready to buy something 2 or 3 months. It's not really worth your time. The vehicle that you're looking at is not going to be there. It could be different specs and things like that. Plus, the salesman's not going to be particularly appreciative of you using that time to test drive just for fun when they could be with a paying customer, and you're not going to like being sold to when you're not ready to buy. It's just not a very good situation for either party involved. And sticking with our in Canada example here, let the finance office see what they can do for you. Generally, I have found between working in a car dealership a little bit post-college and working in the bank is that car dealerships can get loans done faster, they can get them done at a better rate, and they can get them done with less paperwork. I remember when I was at the bank, we had to get income documentation, vehicle documentation. It's a fairly long process. Usually took 72 hours minimum to turn around a car loan application. So yeah, let the finance office give it a try. If you're not super happy with what you got, then go talk to your bank or your credit union and see what they can do for you. And if you like the car, the price is fair, then just buy it if you can afford it. Don't waste time hanging over $500, especially if you're financing part of the vehicle. It's not going to make a very big difference. Again, just make it as simple as possible. Compare and shop. You know, when you're looking for a new, even something simple as a phone charger, or you're looking to buy a device, you don't just go to Best Buy and negotiate with them. You look at different stores, see who has the cheapest, and you go buy it. Do the same thing with your cars, but be wary. The cheaper a dealership is, generally the worse the sales experience and the service experience is going to be. Not always, but just keep that in mind as well. So I hope this helps your car buying. Make sure when you go buy your car, don't buy anything that's worth more than 50% of your annual salary, and don't spend more than 10% of your gross pay on your payments and stuff. Make sure you account for gas, maintenance, and insurance, and enjoy the car buying experience. Have fun with it. It is exciting if you can be excited about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.